everyone, this is D'Angelo here, and welcome to Share a Chair. We care, so share a chair. Today we have history teacher Ralph Giordano with us for our latest interview. Now, Ralph, just to start things off, how would you describe yourself?
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me on your show, Matthew D'Angelo. Describe myself, well, right now I am a high school teacher at Monsignor Farrell High School. Also proud of one of my former students here.
Thank you.
Now, you're welcome, at St. John's University, moving onward in life. But basically right now, I'll just at this point start with, I'm a high school teacher, mostly freshmen and sophomores, and I'm guessing during the interview we'll tell you a few other things.
Yeah, you're also, I bet, a professor, right? You said you were?
I'm a professor at college. For years I was a professor at the College of Staten Island,
Okay.
and also currently at Cade University in New Jersey, teaching history courses, also things in leisure and recreation and cultural courses.
It's really good.
Thank you.
So, what was your childhood like? Let's just start off with that.
Well, first of all, just like everyone else, young. We start off young.
Yeah.
But I guess in a lot of ways, for myself, it was not unusual, but unusual to others, and in the way unusual to others would be unusual to me, and it sounds confusing, but I was born in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And I was born in what is now called Park Slope, but it was really South Brooklyn. It's not the, if you want to call this desirable, ritzy place that Park Slope is now. It was basically a working class neighborhood. And it was row houses, and it was city streets. When I first started high school, I moved to Staten Island, which was a whole cultural difference, because for those, if we're just simply comparing Staten Island, or for comparing rural areas across the nation, or city areas, there is a difference in the fact of living with row houses attached, about 3 stories high, what we call brownstones in Brooklyn,
Yeah.
narrow street, and basically, so the childhood did occur, which wouldn't be unlike a lot of others, definitely influenced by TV.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I say Batman, everyone was Batman. My Batman was the late 1960s Batman. TV, focused with that, street games. Now, in the Brooklyn street games, things like stickball. We had games called steps leading to a house, but that was called a stoop.
Okay.
And we had a thing called stoop ball, a basic Spalding ball, where in places like Brooklyn, we call them Spaldinis, and we would play a thing like called off the point, where you would take the ball and you would bounce it off the step on the stoop, and we would play across the street. So someone would stand across the street, and we'd have to hit it up in the air, and if the person caught it, you were out, sort of like baseball.
Yeah.
But then we also had lines, so they were standing across the street, and if that ball, for example, bounced off the house, hopefully not breaking a window, but we did a few of those.
I did too.
You did too, right? That would be a home run. There were other games with basic stickball of playing sewer cap to sewer cap. Not too far from us was Proctor Park.
Well,
so,
just to get a better, for our, for our audience, what's
Yeah.
a stoop?
Oh, well, I said, a stoop is a set of steps leading to the second floor of a New York City brownstone.
Okay, so you would throw the ball there and just...
And hit it off the edge of the step. I'm sorry, as we call it, off the point. So where the step, the riser,
Yeah.
met the top tread, there's an edge to it, and we would call that the point. And the idea was to try and take the ball and bounce it off that point and send it up in the air. There was another thing we played if we could find a flat wall, which is called off the wall, sort of like this, where we would take the ball and bounce it and get it up into the air also. And then, trading that off to heading towards Staten Island, when there were more availability of parks, and even again back in Brooklyn, I had Prospect Park, of actually playing things like baseball on a baseball field.
Mhm.
But for the most part, with my childhood, from to the age of 13 in Brooklyn itself, it was TV, it was street games, it was, I call them military historical miniatures. We call them toy soldiers. Toy soldiers. Collection of toy soldiers, cars. I had my Matchbox cars, the little wheelies. Some people know them as Hot Wheels. Playing with those. I also built model planes, model cars, model trucks, which still is a little bit popular today, but was fairly popular in those days. And I say so. Also, it involved school.
So,
And part of the lifestyle, as I know I've said to this individual before, I was a second class Boy Scout, I'm sitting with an Eagle Scout.
Thank you.
But part of it also was scouting, which was part of my grammar school, which is St. Francis Xavier, which is still there between 6th and 7th Avenue on President Street in Brooklyn. And usually on Friday nights they have the gymnasium open, which I think is almost universal. It was across New York City and maybe other cities in America. CYO, Catholic Youth Organization, which meant on a Friday night you have the gym open, and maybe one Friday night you go in and it's basketball tonight. And I remember other days they put the big boards out and we played knock hockey, or they put out checkerboards. Something to do. Now my uncles and aunts told me that prior to us doing that, they used to have like Friday night dances in the same gymnasium and stuff. So for the most part, I think I gave a good summary of what the childhood was like.
So with those games that you played, you said you played the game where Stoop Ball. You said you played chess. You said you played all these different games. You said you even built model trucks. How would you say that compared to children nowadays who wouldn't necessarily do that differ?
Well, yeah, and actually it was trucks, it was cars, it was planes. And, well, one of the things that I know I got from that, at least from building the model planes, that started me on the point to where now basically I'm a history teacher in high school. And when people ask me what was my first interest in history, well, it was Snoopy. It was Snoopy and the Red Baron, who people still know today, which led me to hearing Snoopy didn't fly his doghouse, he flew something called a Sopwith Camel. And I looked it up and found out that it was actually a historical plane from World War I, and there were model kits available where you can build them, sometimes screw them together. Then I got into the point of actually hand painting them and you glue them and so on. But then I started reading about them. And I did a lot of reading when I was a kid too. And I started reading first about the actual planes and the pilots who flew them. And that was attached to World War I. And I started reading about World War I and World War II and other history, and just basically never stopped on that. But with that, look, if I extend it further out, learning at a younger age how to put the models together, which was reading an instruction sheet, being creative with the painting, and understanding that was a step-by-step process, led me to a lot of the, if anything, the discipline that I've carried through life. Being able to follow instructions to put something together many years later served me phenomenally well when I put an IKEA kitchen in my home. And if anyone knows IKEA, everything comes flat in a box.
Yeah.
And the first thing you gotta do is open it up, read the instructions, and make it look like a kitchen cabinet. So if I extend it that far, I do have that knowledge. But also, I think what is desperately needed is you need to get involved in a whole bunch of things. I mean, if you talk about some of the other things I do, I use the computer a lot. And some of the things I'll defer to my wife, Thelma. Now, I've written 7 books. And she always says, and she points, I am so surprised, and she points to the book, that that thing could come out of one of those things, which is a computer. And if anything, they're great tools, but I think some people don't understand how to use them properly. The knowledge you can gain, the fun you can gain, the entertainment you can gain, I don't think they understand that you can do many, many different things with it. Some people just stare at it and text. Now,
It's unfortunate.
it's unfortunate, but in a different way, texting is how we coordinated getting this done. Texting is how we coordinate a lot of things. But if you spend your entire time doing that, you're losing the capability of doing other things.
Yeah.
And the entertainment options that exist, whether they were TV when I was a kid, or whether we have them available with streaming today, whether on a computer, an iPhone, or HD TVs itself, that I think is a tremendous opportunity, but I think people aren't fully aware. To say, getting back to my model building days, you got to get the mind going, as you know. You have to be able to think, and you need to have at least enough different types of opportunities to allow the mind to think, be creative. Sometimes you do have to just stop, sit down,
And sit back.
veg out, and watch a comedy.
Yeah. Yeah. And you've mentioned before about reading and about how that has shaped you. But on top of that, how has your education as a whole shaped you, would you say?
Well, I would just have to say it's everything about what I value and what I've become. Heading through basically 8 years of grammar school, the Catholic grammar school, heading through 4 years of high school at the Susan Wagner High School. And with my generation or my family, Two of my uncles had gone to college, but most of my other family, my father was one of 10 and my mom one of 5, it wasn't necessarily a generation of you defaulted and definitely went to college. I did, and I studied architecture, and I became a licensed architect. And
Very impressive.
thank you. And I spent a lot of years working as an architect and also the campus architect for the College of Staten Island. But I do remember a very, very dear individual, a professor of history who passed away last year named
Sorry about that.
Frederick Binder, but he lives on. And I remember going to him and saying, and I knew him as Fred, but I always had this thing about in the professional line saying Professor Binder, I want to do a little change. I said, architecture, as much as I love it, has sort of funneled me. It's narrowed my focus on a lot of the things that I'm doing. I want to reverse the funnel, I told him. I want to expand my knowledge. And he's the one that encouraged me to take what was called a Master's of Arts in Liberal Studies. Well, basically, what I personally feel was the absolute best program anyone can take. I took a master's program at night, and I took 2 courses back to back. The first course was straight history of a period. For example, when we were doing the early 1900s, which I know is a period you love, when I had said to him, we're going to study the Communist Manifesto, I have no clue about Karl Marx. He says, I'll teach you. And then he says, we're also going to teach ourselves. But as we're learning the history of the time period, the second class I would go to was learn the art, culture, social aspects of the same time period. So as we're studying what is happening in America that class was basically 1900 to 1945. And as we're looking at what's happening in Europe with the development, as you know, with the Soviet Communist Party and the Nazis and the fascists, also looking at how society is using its art and entertainment to reflect the culture that we're in.
Okay.
And truly, as some colleges call it today, that absolute parallel surface of what's called American Studies. That everything is a result of what's happening at any given time period. History isn't just solely political. It isn't solely a war. Like, for example, you do World War II, how important the Hollywood film industry, movies, and music was to support of the American war effort.
I could imagine.
Yeah, and some people still have heard the phenomenal names of Benny Goodman and Glenn Miller, individuals who use that music to at least provide some kind of uplifting spirit to the soldiers, and to say, like, gentlemen, remember, this great stuff we got back here, well, you go do what you gotta do, and if we prevail, this is what you're fighting for. And there's so many things. I mean, people, I think, seem to forget Captain America was a result of World War II. Captain America fought the Red Skull and the Nazis using comic books. Superman, who failed his eye test as to why he did not get into the army, because people are saying, well, if we have Superman, can't Superman just go over there and beat all the Nazis and kill Hitler? So the comic book created a situation where he was reading an eye chart, and his x-ray vision was looking into the other room, so he failed, and he was declared unfit for the military. And there were other things about him too, but the fact that the comic books are part of the culture and the historical time period, again, the music and the entertainment, and that's really what turned me on to also teaching, to get into the classroom and try and bring in the various situations that we have and make the words in the textbook come alive through the images, through the use of YouTube and the visuals that we have. And so my education has shaped me in the way that I'm excited about it. I know you are. And the whole idea is to try and realize there is really something definitely true about just passing it on. I mean, the line I currently use now is, I'm the past, you're the future.
Okay.
But we have to create that link. And I think what my education has done for me is made me understand that. And I also am not in a position to think that, if someone is, for example, my principal or my assistant principal, and they're younger than me, that's meaningless to me. That person's capable, well, I'll work for that person.
Yeah.
And however, I do know other individuals who don't have that kind of concept, that if you're answering the question what you're saying about what my education has done for me, I think it's made me better understand.
Okay.
And unlike others, the world doesn't revolve around me. I thank you for bringing me on your show, but another end, we're all in a way replaceable, but we're all in a way not replaceable, because we all have something to add. And once again, that's also part of so much of, again, learning from individuals like Professor Binder, who is such a phenomenal individual. He was a Harvard-educated PhD who never acted as we would think a Harvard-educated.
Yeah.
He was down to earth. He was one-to-one. And another individual was Professor Cal Holder, who was one of the first African Americans to get a PhD from Harvard. And working with phenomenal individuals, there was a woman named Lynette Solomon who served the College of Staten Island, who was a curator for the Metropolitan Museum of Art, teaching us art. And what I learned so much from them is they never put themselves on a pedestal, not to say that some don't. I'm sure
Yeah.
you do. I've had professors and I've worked with colleagues who like to put themselves on a pedestal and think you can be aware of it too. I'm always one to say, if I don't know, I'll say, I don't know. I use the word
I'm the same
enlighten me,
way.
teach me. And that's another important factor of learning from the education, is that I love learning, and in some ways it's frustrating that there's so much I don't know, but I do know
Yeah.
that I can research it, I can read it, we can find out. Like, I'll go back to, and then we'll go to the next question, the very first question you ever asked me. You ran into this room, and right here on this board I had a map. You said, Mr. Giordano, if you were going to take over the world, where would you start? And now that's how I really first got to know you, and then you were in my classes, but, and I was like, I don't know. Where would you start?
Yeah.
Where would you start?
Me? I said at that time Australia. Now if I had to think about China.
China, okay. And I said, I didn't know, and actually I still wouldn't know where to start.
Okay, that's understandable. But that's very interesting. What you said before is about how your main thing seems to be that you're down to earth. That seems to be a very big value of yours. I'd say that's an important value.
It is. Sometimes I actually, it's not being pretentious, it's not being obnoxious, and sometimes I really do get a feeling that people think I say that and think I'm only saying that as either a part of an act or something else, but why should I be anything else? That I don't understand. I know I have something to contribute.
Mm-hmm.
I know you have something to contribute. I know everyone else has something to contribute. And something else that I've learned is just, if you just kind of be down to earth, you can actually have some fun. You don't have to be so restrictive or so, it's the word's called stoic. I got grandkids, and I don't mind getting on the floor and rolling the cars with them. I mean, it's, my son Jonathan has a great saying, you don't stop playing when you get old, you get old when you stop playing. And I think that's a great statement of which is also down to earth. If you got an opportunity to play and do something that you liked as a kid and you can like it as an adult, go for it. And I guess that's probably my definition of what you say is down to earth.
Okay. And besides being down to earth, you also mentioned discipline and being disciplined. What would you say is that definition for you?
To some, that might be a little bit of my own personal insanity, but my definition of discipline, I guess, is basically organized.
Okay.
Now, some of the things that have led to me on basic discipline or my organization is my own personal self-desire for running things called marathons. It's setting a goal in the future, like right now as we're speaking, it's close to Christmas, which means it's December. Not even about 30 some odd days ago, I ran the New York City Marathon, but I'm already looking to next November. Not looking to next November that I want those months to run by, it's just that I know I have a goal set that's going to give me the incentive or the discipline to know that I have to lay out a plan of running, as you know also, on the certain days and a certain amount of days, and then increase that and increase the distances as I start heading towards that goal. And the discipline is more organization.
Okay.
Working with, at any time, who knows how many students, because I also teach at college. If I have 130 students, 100